Hello YouTube and welcome to this video. Today we are going to be tearing down this old camera which doesn't work and is very old. I don't actually know much about this one, I just found it in the cupboard. This is a Kodak EasyShare DX4530 and it has those specifications for the lens and it claims it is 5 megapixels. Now, is it 5 megapixels? I don't know because it won't even turn on. I've tried it with new batteries in and it doesn't turn on. And then I found this DC thing and I was thinking, do I have a 3-volt DC connector? And I don't, so I opened that and as you can see, the DC plug is not actually aligned with the holes, so it's probably internally damaged or something. Anyway. Oh yeah, also the lens cap won't fit on because, well, the lens is sticking out. When I put batteries in, nothing happens, so I'm just calling it broken. So let's get into the teardown. Now what screws do I need? Right, small one. So where shall we begin? Let's begin at the bottom with the screws. Oh yeah, if you wanted to know more details about the camera, then... Anyway, there's more details about the camera. It also has, oh, everything's upside down on the viewfinder. It also has one of those connectors, or whatever that is. And if I go to the side here, we can see there's a USB symbol thing, and then we open it up, and it's actually that. Now, what type of USB is that? That reminds me of an old printer, even though it's not actually a printer. So let's just begin taking these apart. Taking this apart, taking these screws out. Doesn't even stay level. In fact, I said I don't want to do much editing, but I'll probably be editing all of these screws out because, as you can see, it takes about 2 hours. Okay, I'll be back once I've got all the screws out from the casing and to where I can just pull the casing apart. I've now taken all of the screws out of the external casing except for that one. That one is actually unscrewed but it refuses to come out of the plastic, so I'll just leave it there. But as you can see, I've taken all the screws off and bits keep falling off. That just fell off, which covers over that bit. Anyway, let's pull this bottom, or let's just let the bottom bit fall off by itself. So there's a plastic shrouding from the bottom bit. Now we've got this battery flap which just unhooks like that. Oh, that's a nice bit of gold plating, that, isn't it? Look at that, that is going straight into the refining box. Refining for precious metals, in case this is the first video you've watched. So yes, as you can see, I've taken all the screws out. Will it just come apart? Oh, it will. Right, so here we've got a little ribbon cable which is what connected the screen to the information inside. No, that was a ribbon cable that powered on the screen and fed the information from the camera sensor over to the screen so you can see what you are taking pictures of. And this camera does actually have its own viewfinder. Let's try and can I take the front bit off? So I've got that bit off. So I'm guessing, oh, there's a speaker, well, one speaker that just fell out. Nice bit of gold on the back. I'll put that for refining as well. So why isn't this side? I just unclipped those. Right, there we go. So now we have the plastic casing, which is, well, a plastic casing, not of much interest. So in here we have the battery compartment, which is taking up about a third of the camera's size. And then on the back we've got a PCB, we've got a PCB on the top, and stuff like that. Is this just a little... Yes, it is just a little thing that you can pull off. So yeah, there's copper in it here. In one of my previous videos, when I was tearing down the Xperia M2, I said I didn't know what the copper was for. And I know one of my friends watches my videos and he said it could be for cooling, which it could be, because copper is a good conductive of heat. A good conductor of heat, therefore we use it in like cooling stuff. Anyway, let's take these screws out once I can get my screwdriver into the screws. And now you see they've soldered it down. Oh, just put that screw in there before I lose that one. Now they've soldered it down, but that won't stop me just ripping it out. So, no, hang on. Judging by that cable on the top, I'd say that this wasn't to do with cooling, it was to do with some kind of earthing. So as you can see, there's like an earth wire on the top of it there. Anyway, let's actually unscrew that earthing wire, or what I believe is an earthing wire, and put the screw in there and pick up the bit of copper that fell off. Now, I don't know why I unscrewed it, just to pull it off. So that can go over there with the gold, and then I'll sort it all out into its correct box. So now, on top of the camera, we have a PCB. There's quite a few PCBs in this. We've got one there, connected by a ribbon cable, and one up here, which is also connected by a ribbon cable. I know why there's so many PCBs in it. This PCB here is the main, like this is the motherboard of the camera, where everything is calculated and saved and whatever. This one is the top PCB, so the top buttons work, and this PCB, if we turn it around, is in alignment with the camera lens, so this must be the PCB that the camera sensor is on. So we've got the camera sensor, the main board, and then this other little board which enables the use of the top buttons. I guess we'll just work our way around, shall we? Start at the top. Right, well, there's a ribbon cable here, so let's... I could have unscrewed it, but anyway, there's a camera sensor with the lens assembly that I will tear down later, so just put that there for now. Look at this, these 3 layers of PCB. I know I said layers, weird layers, I can't really say it very well. 3 layers of PCB. We've got one here, and we've got this one, and then we've got the bottom one here. So we've got quite a lot of PCBs in this camera. Okay, let's get into tearing this bit down. I'm going to move positions to over here. I hope the sound balancing is okay. If not, then I'll just have to do it in the editing software. The sound balancing, it looks a little bit over to the right, so I guess I'll fix that in the editing software. Anyway, so where shall I begin? Yeah, I can only see one screw, which is just in there. Don't know how well you can see it, but that's the only one I can see, so let's take it out and then see if this PCB just falls out, which it probably won't. I was right, it didn't fall out. Ah, there's another screw there. Right, does this top PCB want to come out now? Well, it's loose. Definitely loose. Oh, there we go. Ah, so this one is where the memory card was inserted. So yeah, I'll be back with the memory card. This is literally the memory card that was inside this camera when I found it, but basically you just, which way does it go? Ah, that way. Just push your memory card in there like that, and then it can save to the memory card. And as I'm sure you can see, all of these gold pins up here, and those gold pins there and there, means that this PCB can go over there, and that SD card, well, I'll see what's on it first, and then I'll just put it with the collection of all the other SD cards that I've collected over the years. Right, I can see a lot more screws now, which is probably good. It means I'll actually be able to get into tearing it down. Still can't see any screws to get this top bit off. Does the top bit just pull off? Yes, top bit does just pull off. Okay. Right, so here we have that twisty thing at the top. That thing was on. There it looks like we've got a very tiny cell battery, button battery, whatever you want to call them. And if I just pull it off, then we do have a very tiny button battery. Nice amount of gold on this, so that's going over to the refining pile. This camera is just covered with gold contacts everywhere, or gold coating contacts. Right, so now let's try and pull. Oh, hang on, let me zoom back out. Oh, I'm dropping everything. Now we'll get back to tearing this down. Does this bit come off? Yep. So I don't know what role this. Oh, I do know what role this plays. This was the flash with quite a very large capacitor. But yeah, we've got the flash with a ridiculously sized regular capacitor with a Japanese capacitor, and right there is the microphone. Wonder if I can get that foam out. Yep, I can do. Right, so that in there is the microphone. I don't know what the microphone quality was like. 120. Oh, this is a photo flash capacitor. Okay. Why is there still power in it? What? How's there still power in it? Hasn't been batteries in it for years. Well, I did put some batteries in it to see if it worked, but then when it wouldn't turn on, I took them out. I'm putting that to one side. It just like sparked on me. So let's get down to this bit. This bit is just the battery bit. So hopefully, does the plastic bit just pull off? Right, let's unscrew these screws here, and then it should just come out. I have no idea why that capacitor just like still had power in it. I mean, the batteries I put in it were, well, they weren't fresh batteries, but they weren't like that used. Two more screws put over there. Now does it just need to, there we go. Right, so there's a plastic battery bit. Not much to say. Not really of any interest, but I tell you what is of interest. You see the golden contacts here? Yep, you guessed it. These can go over to the refining pile, and so can this PCB, because I've spotted like quite a few gold pins on it and stuff. First, let me get rid of this little bit of metal down here that I don't want. So here we have, I don't know what role this played, but it clearly was part of the power system, because this is where the battery's inputted. We've got a tiny little like actuator type thing there, whatever that is, and we've also got quite a lot of these bits, and on the edges of those bits you can see some silver looking bits. That's actually palladium. So yeah, that can go over there for when I can finally get around to refining everything that's in the cupboard, which probably won't be for a few more years because it requires like acid and proper ventilation and stuff like that. But now we have got to the final bit of the camera, except for this capacitor, which is okay, it's coming. There we go. No idea why that sparked. I mean, did both of those bits touch each other? Could that have been due to it? Anyway, there's a tiny bit of gold on this. So what I'll do is get rid of that capacitor, unscrew this tiny screw. Well, I say tiny screw, it's the same size screw as all the other screws, which gets rid of all of this plastic assembly that I don't really want or need. Just pull the cables off and then just stick that over there in the refining pile. Right, let's get to the actual lens assembly of the camera. So first off we have two screws on the back here. So let's go ahead and unscrew those. Well, two screws on this bit of PCB. So yep, let me just unscrew those. Right, I've now unscrewed those and I just pulled the camera sensor off. So there is the sensor, which I guess, no, I'll show you it now in fact. So here is the camera's sensor. So yeah, I don't really know what else I can say about that, just that that's the sensor and it looks like that. I'm not sure what size it is, but then again it's a very old camera, so I guess it doesn't really matter because these days technology is a lot more advanced. But yeah, apparently that's equivalent to a 5 megapixel camera. I don't know what the clarity was like on it. I don't know like how good it was at taking pictures or whatever, because like I said, this camera is very old and I just found it in a cupboard. So what I'll do is I'll just put this to one side, which I guess will be the refining side, as there is gold on the sensor assembly. Now I'll get on with taking all the screws out of this ribbon cable. You know, I'm just going to pull it off. Oh yes, did I show you that on the back there? There's the lens assembly that the sensor was behind. So now what is left is, well, we've got the motor, which I guess focuses the lens, well, moves it in and out anyway. There's lots of screws on the back here, so I'm now going to unscrew those. Okay, so while I was unscrewing one of the screws, the motor just fell off. So yeah, that's the motor. And now I'm going to proceed to unscrew these remaining 3 screws. Okay, so this is the last screw. Hang on. Is that better? Probably won't have made much difference, but the final screw that I can see at the moment is there. So I need to unscrew that now. And now, no, so these motors here would have been the motors that focused the lens, I'm presuming. Speaking of focus, the camera doesn't want to focus on it. But yeah, I'm guessing this was the lens assembly that focused the lenses. Does that mean I can just push them in and out at the moment? No, I still need to do more teardown in order to get that far. But yeah, that's at the very back of the lens assembly, in between the actual lenses and the sensor. I'll tell you what I did notice when I was taking it apart was, hang on, just get rid of that, was the viewfinder here, which as you can see, there's a screw on top of it, so we might be able to open it up. So if we do get to open it up, then I will open it up. Now looking inside the camera here, I can see a screw there and there. So I'll unscrew those. Tiny, tiny, tiny little screws. Tiny. And I noticed that these cogs had fallen off. So I don't know what role these cogs played. Probably something to do with moving the lens assembly in and out. But anyway, I've shown you those now, so yeah. Now I need to remove the secondary of the tiniest screw I've ever seen. Or one of the tiniest screws I've ever seen. And I can turn the lens now to make it go in and out, but it still seems to be inside its casing, which I guess is how they manufactured it. So I don't know if I'll be able to remove it or not. Anyway, let's get on with this viewfinder bit, and then I'll try and figure out if I can remove the lens from its plastic assembly. Oh, that's interesting. I don't know how well I'll be able to show this on the camera, but this cog here actually alters the zoom of the viewfinder. If I move the cog up, it zooms in the viewfinder, and then turn it the other way, it zooms out. Now I know the camera's focusing on the actual assembly, but as you can see from the screwdriver that it is zooming in and zooming out. That's actually really interesting. I haven't seen a viewfinder that zooms in and out. But yeah, it does make sense, as when you zoom the lens in and out, the viewfinder will also need to zoom in and out, so you get an accurate representation of what you're taking a picture of. Still want to get inside it. Tell you what I'll do. I'll be back once I've got inside it. Okay, so I just pulled it off. Probably shouldn't have, but as you can see there's all cogs and springs in there. So yeah, now let me remove this screw. Hang on, because we're getting onto the smaller bits, let me move the camera down and zoom it in a bit. Now we're getting onto the smaller bits of the teardown. I can zoom it in a bit. So this is not what it looks like inside a viewfinder. Thought that you would have just been able to lift the top off after you've unscrewed that bit. Right, there's a definite gap around here. Is there something under these? That is just a bit of plastic. What's under here? Just another bit of plastic. How do you get in a viewfinder? I've got an idea. I have an idea. Wait there. So that still didn't work. Did I even hit it? Oh, now the screws have gone everywhere. Oh, the screws are everywhere. Right, maybe that wasn't the best idea, was it? We are no longer going to try and find out what's inside this viewfinder. And I can put the hammer back where it was. There, I can't seem to find a way on getting this lens out of this black casing, because if you look at the back, when I screw the lens in and out, see, it actually moves as though this is part of it. So I don't think I'll be able to get the lenses out. So this might be the end of the video. Like, looking around it, I can't see any more screws. Yes, I know there was a screw there, but if you look, that's holding in something that was in there. And if I just break it off, oh look, there's now no longer a screw there, implying that that wasn't holding anything in. So yes, I don't think I'll be able to get into the actual lenses, which I guess hasn't been the most rewarding of teardowns. But anyway, here we have all the bits from the teardown. So here we've got all of those bits, and then if I just drag these bits in behind, so we've got the bits from the teardown that I'm throwing away, and then the bits at the back here that I'm keeping for refining eventually. So I guess that's it for this video. So thank you for watching, and I shall see you in the next video.